One very important thing to think about when you're thinking about how to structure your show is to think about, should you focus on more current events or evergreen topics? And I'm going to be showing you examples of each.
This video is brought to you by EpiPies Academy.
As we go through this video, what's important to realize is if you cover something like current events, something that's really being talked about today, that gets you a huge spike of traffic potentially, but then it dies down, versus something that's evergreen, meaning like something that people talk about all the time, but not everyone at the same time. Then you get traffic gradually, but over time. And that has obviously tremendous implications on your show. So first of all, what exactly is evergreen? It's a content that exactly is evergreen. It's always accurate and it's always the same content. If you made a YouTube video or a podcast episode or whatever, what is a redwood tree? Like 10 years from now, all that information will still be identical. If you did a show about history of the Roman Empire, chances are 10 years from now, 99.9% of the information is still pretty much identical, barring any new historical findings. So some things, they're just super evergreen. And if you, let's say, rank on YouTube for history of the Roman Empire, you're going to get a lot of views gradually over time. And as long as you keep ranking, let's say 10 years from now, you keep ranking, you're going to keep getting views. Now, those are very obvious evergreen topics. Some evergreen topics that might not be obvious are like dating. And you might think, well, dating is changing all the time. Yeah, but like so many things about dating are very evergreen. Of course, 1,000 years from now, dating is going to be different. But for the time being, 5 years, 10 years, it's kind of very, very similar, a lot of similarities. So in almost every field, there are going to be things that are currently changing, but also things that are evergreen. For example, a topic like, what do women like in a man? Will probably be very similar 5 or 10 years from now. And the same is true for science, fields of study, business. For example, years ago, I did videos on like how to create a business plan for a restaurant, how to create a business plan for a cleaning business. It's pretty much the same video. It's still getting views. So those are not evergreen for the next 1,000 years, but those are evergreen for long enough that you're going to be running your business, which is really the time period you care about. And then there's like partially evergreen. Of course, technology, products, entertainment. Technology, of course, changes rapidly, but some technology stays long enough that it's effectively evergreen for us. And the current events are like daily headline things. And by the way, almost every field that has evergreen topics also has current events. Of course, history has a lot fewer current events, but most other fields do have daily happenings. So you can have a show full of opinion pieces, headlines. Those things are typically the things that trend. These are the things that can get you a little virality, that they spike in viewership. So those are good, but you have to be really on top of them, because just as there is a spike in viewership, there's also a spike in content pieces competing with yours. So you have to be like really fast at creating them. And keep in mind, there's always hybrid situations. For example, stocks. Of course, every day the stock market is different, which means that it's like current event field, yeah? But also at the same time, stocks have a lot of evergreen topics like, what is a PE ratio? How do you calculate profitability? How do you read a balance sheet? Those things, they're going to be like that the same for 20 years or 50 years or 100 years. So you see daily news. Okay, some daily news are daily and they're gone. Something happened. Today people care. Tomorrow nobody cares. But some daily news, people stay caring. For example, John Kennedy assassination. Well, that stayed as a topic for decades. So always look for evergreenness in your topics and try to choose topic coverage that you get the most out of evergreenness and current eventness, so that you get the best of both worlds. It's not always possible, but that's the ideal balance, is if you strike the balance of the two. And even if you don't, try to get as much of either as possible.